Yo, 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 good people. It's your homie HerbMan. Busting you back upside the head with another hot banger. But please go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. And if you're new to the program, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe on all the platforms at Love HerbMan. All right, so I am your homie HerbMan. I am your neighborhood holistic practitioner. We're coming live from South Africa, live on TikTok, live on YouTube. Please go somewhere, sit down and be notified and be able to listen, because this is the show where we teach you how to heal yourself. And you cannot heal yourself if you do not know thyself. So we teach you about the human frame and the human design so that you guys can be well on your way to the happiness, the wholeness, and the oneness that you're seeking. Okay, so you guys know how this go, man. This is a free information station. You don't have to pay for anything that you hear today. All you simply got to do is pay attention. And how we do that on the HerbMan show is by double tapping that screen. Once we get to a 1,000 likes, we'll get into the subject matter at hand. Let us try to get to 100,000 likes during the live broadcast, all right? So I work for you. I make sure that you guys need to make sure that you're sharing in that work energy with me. And all we ask for you to do is simply interact, be engaged, and allow us to be able to help you along your healing journey. Now, a lot of you guys are used to medications. A lot of you guys are used to the education. A lot of you guys are just used to the rat race of capitalism, and that's cool, but that's really the programming. Okay, and for the most of us from 0 to 10 years old, we have been programmed to be able to perceive our environments a certain way. And it is in this perception that is the real key to how you heal yourself. And you don't have to take medications to do this. Now, is surgery a thing to do? Yes, surgery. If you need surgery, you need to go to the hospital. But we're talking about all these other chronic conditions: diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, autoimmune diseases, et cetera, can be handled fundamentally with a nature-based intervention system or program. But what we have to do is deprogram you and reprogram you in order to get there. Now, some people call it hypnosis and all that. You don't got to do all that. All you got to do is to get into alignment with nature, is to know your tendencies. Let me repeat that one more time, because this is live on YouTube. All you have to do in order to fix your problems is to know your tendencies. That means that you know thyself. When you know you have a tendency to be addictive, when you know you have a tendency to have these habits, when you know you have a tendency based on the programming, based on your programming and your engineering, you're going to have tendencies. Once we know those things, we can kind of counterbalance you, because now you're focused and concentrating on these tendencies not being stumbling blocks in your life, not being strongholds in your life, not being the loopholes that catch you up in disease and all this type of stuff. Now you're able to actually be able to hold on to those things a little bit better. So that's why we're teaching you that the mind is the place to start the healing journey. Okay, the brain is the place to start your healing journey, you guys. All right, so keep tapping, you guys. I'll keep tapping, I'll keep talking. Okay, so the real big thing about the owner's manual is to know your tendencies, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you to be in the present moment, to be conscious of what you're doing. See, when you get programmed, and I want you guys to understand this, remember, they do a good job at programming us from 0 to 10 years old. Okay, they do a good job at programming us from 0 to 10 years old. So your parents got a lot to do with it. The systems that they grow up under got a lot to do with it. So then they're going to teach you what the systems taught them. And then when you come out, you're going to get that knowledge plus what the system is teaching you. And so you get this programming of how to respond to the environmental stimuli. You get this programming of how you want to respond to this environmental stimuli. And then, so now what's happening is, if you get a child in that very young age and you start to do things to them, whether it be something egregious that you ain't got no business doing, or if it's some form of abuse, some form of neglect, some form of misuse, all this type of stuff, it can do what? It can be programmed in them. Okay. And so the biggest thing about this program, the biggest things about this program is that it's going to knock you off your rocker, or it's going to cause interference, with nature's program for your life. So you have your program for the world. You've been programmed for the world. Remember that the world is different from the earth. Your world is different from the earth. You have been programmed for the world, but you haven't been programmed for the earth's pattern for your life. So you don't know a whole lot about nature's programming. All you know a lot about is man's programming for the world that you live in. So you're automatically being educated to what? Hey, you're automatically being educated to do what? Get to the money. You automatically been educated to do what? Get married in a certain way. You automatically been educated to do what? Praise God in a certain way, right? You automatically been educated to do what? To have a house or have a car in this particular neighborhoods in this type of way, and getting this type of education and putting these classes and classifications on things and compartmentalize and individualize in different things, because you don't understand that you're a part of a conglomerate. But when I program you to be an individual instead of being a part of the community, then I strip you of that sense of belonging. And so you'll see that most of us, that's what the problem is. You're trying to find that sense of belonging. So you're trying to find out if the career will give you that sense of belonging. You're trying to find out if a relationship will give you that sense of belonging. You're trying to figure out if money will give you that sense of belonging. You're trying to figure out if community will give you that sense of belonging. All you're trying to do is look for your tribe and look for your community, because that is what they call constructive interference, which means that now you're vibing with the people that vibe like you. All of us, that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to find the right tribe that we can vibe with. That is called constructive interference. So you're vibing on the same level. When we are colliding our waves together, our energies together on the same level, we make bigger waves in this thing. And that's what coupling should be all about. That's what community should be all about, is when you come together, you provide a bigger energy, you provide a bigger support system, you provide a bigger movement. See, there's a lot of men getting with women and a lot of women getting with men that ain't on the same, you destructive interference instead of constructive interference. We ain't vibing, we ain't on the same wavelength. So you don't make me bigger and I don't make you greater. But we need to understand that that's what we're all looking for. Okay. And so that is the interference, is the programming that you've been programmed under versus the program that came for you. Okay, that naturally came for you. If you never send that baby to school, it was still, if you never send a baby boy to school, but you put him around his father, he'll still know how to be a man. If you never send baby girl to school, but you put her around her mother, she'll still know how to be a woman, because that is coming from observation of the mind. And so my point is that as babies, you absorb and you observe, and you get twisted and you get changed chemically and you get changed energetically to be able to handle this environmental stimuli in a certain way. If your mama used to whoop you, then when you see something bad, you'll whoop somebody. If your mama them used to cuss you, when you see something going on, you'll cuss somebody. If your mama them used to cook this, when you hungry, you'll cook that. When your daddy used to do this, if you get in the problem, you'll do that what your daddy did. It's because you have only been able to get out of a thing what you put into it, and that programming started from 0 to 10 years old. So the bottom line is, in order to be able to get you to mentally get to a place where you can heal yourself and live as long as you want to live to, in order for you to understand what I'm teaching you guys, this is scientific back information that I'm teaching y'all. I'm just not a scientist. I ain't no biologist. I ain't no biochemist, but I know what I'm talking about to be true. And it's because I've experienced this experience before, and I continue to keep using this formula day in and day out to get me to where I am today. And for some of y'all, that may not be nowhere. For some of y'all, I may be doing the biggest thing on the planet. But if you want to know how that you can take a jailbird, a convict, a lawbreaker, a womanizer, all these other names you want to call me, and transform him to where he is adamant and convinced about healing yourself and health, that he would do the research and the sacrifice of his life to do the transition in his life. And so I use that formula of transforming. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Is all that basically saying is you can change by changing your mind. And what we're trying to do is show you how that works. But you got to go back to the place of programming. And since you can't go back to 0 to 10 years old, then we got to show you how to go back there in the mind. So from 0 to 10 years old, you're in that beginning phase of consciousness, right? So you're in that beginning phase of consciousness. You know, a lot of people call it theta, this, that, and the third, but I've already told y'all what theta is. Okay, theta is where nature's vibration is at. So you'll see in theta, you got that from 0 to 10. That's very early on, but we need to put you back there in order to reprogram you, because in 0 to 10 years old, in that theta consciousness is how you got programmed. How to reprogram you is to take you back to that theta. And that is in meditation, imagination, creative thoughts, focus, concentration, all of those types of things. Okay, we got to take you back to your learning phase to reprogram you. I got to reintroduce, you got to relearn to learn. I got to deprogram you of what you learned in order to, so we got to take you back to input phase. Right now you're in output phase. You're just trying to do everything that you've been taught to do. Everything you've been programmed to do is coming out of you in what we call your lifestyle. So right now you're in output phase, but in order to be reprogrammed, in order to be able to initiate some of this stuff that we're teaching you that you have the ability to do, you have to be deprogrammed and reprogrammed, which means you got to go back to learning phase, which in AKA means you got to go back to input phase. And some of you guys are in a situation where you just don't want to input. You don't want to get it. You can't get it. You can't got it. You can't practice it. You can't put it into practicality. And so you're being stuck because you got so much information, so much stuff you got going on in your life, and your brain ain't got room enough for more new information. So we got to debunk you. We got to get this trash out. We got to do this waste disposal and get some of this stuff out so that we can get these new experiences, these new trains of thoughts inside of the mind. And I promise you that if we can get you from being anxiety and get you from being depressed about a thing, and if I can get you to stand still for a minute and hold on real quick and show you how to breathe and show you how to move some of these emotions and show you how to activate this love and this ambiance and this bonding and this bliss automatically within yourself without having a female do it. And that's the thing that you got to understand. I got to reprogram you to show you how to fall back in love without a person. I got to show you how to feel love without a person. I got to show you how to get in ecstasy without a person. I got to show you how to get back into feeling this, and that is about changing your perception. What if this is heaven? Have you ever thought of that? What if this is heaven and you're just perceiving this reality the wrong way? That's what I've been teaching you guys. And so if it's heaven, then you don't have to worry about time. If it's heaven, then you ain't time pressed. If it's heaven, then you ain't got to worry about some of this stuff that other folk worried about. If it's heaven, and if you know that is heaven, then now you can walk through this thing with a sense of calmness, even when on a stormy day. So you got to understand something. It's all about perception. Now, when we look at perception, we can look at it a couple ways. Let me get you to draw down here. You guys keep tapping out, keep talking. Keep tapping out, keep talking, you guys. When you look down here, perception is coming from the pituitary gland and also from the pineal. Now, the pineal gland would be considered your higher perception, right? Your expanded perception when you're connecting to the cosmos and you got this intuitive power. And then you can look at the pituitary gland at being kind of like your subtle perspective, right? So you got subconscious and conscious. Subconscious is the pituitary gland. The perspective, it's the programming. When you are programmed, you're basically in your subconsciousness. That's your motor vehicle. That's your muscle memory, right? Remember you driving going back home and you don't even know how you got home, but you done been that way so many times that the body has been programmed to know how to get you home, even in times when your mind ain't on the road. And that is subconscious. Now you'll see that your subconscious is the thing that's basically handling 95% of your life because you're so caught up in routine and roboticism based on the programming. So now you're programmed to express yourself in a certain way about things, not understanding your natural ability to express. If you have more basic instinct, which is going to equate to more intuition, then you won't fall into a lot of the mistakes and a lot of the pitfalls in life that we fall into. So it's all about building up one muscle, but we're so focused on building up the physicality of what life brings, that we forget about the spirituality of what life brings. And so what I'm encouraging you guys to do is, when your muscles get weak in your body, strengthen your mind. And you strengthen your mind by understanding that your mind has total control over everything biologically in your body. Your skin has receptors on it. Your body got receptors on it. These things are going to help you with perception of the coldness, of the hotness, of the wetness, of the dryness, of all these things. It's going to send information to your brain, and then your brain is going to handle the internal environment, but it's also going to handle it by understanding the external environment. So you got your peripheral nervous system working, all while you got all these other stuff working. So you'll see that when you get cold, what'll happen? Then your body is going to keep the stuff in the core, all right? But then when you get hot, it may push it out to the blood vessels and make you sweat, or vice versa, however it is you want to do it. The bottom line is your body knows what to do. Okay, so all we got to do is provide the environment that keeps the cells working properly. Let me repeat that. All we got to do is provide the environment that keeps the cells working properly. It is very seldom going to be by cell dysfunction and organ dysfunction and body system dysfunction before it gets to an environmental. Remember cell plasticity. Cell plasticity is your cell's ability to metamorph into whatever it is that you need at any given time. That cell plasticity, that means that that's going to be influenced mostly by the environment. That's you. Remember that cell equals you, your inner self, yourself. Right? So you're going to be what? Inundated. You should be able to adapt to whatever the thing coming on in your life. But sometimes we get to a point where we can't adapt no more. But we don't have enough minerals. We don't have enough nutrients. We don't have enough raw material to continue to keep adapting. We don't got enough this and enough knowledge to continue to keep adapting. So guess what? You get hard and you get rigid, and you can no longer change. And when you can no longer change, that's why you can't change your situation. You done got so sick the way now you can't, your cells can't change back. Why? Because the environment. And it ain't just talking about the inner environment of the cell. We're talking about the environment of the life of this human being. And it's how you perceive that environment will allow you to be able to adapt appropriately. And your adaptation is starting to slowly come down. And then adaptation is another word for your creative ability. Your ability to create is coming down, down, down. Adaptation is a creative type of actionary thing that you can do, right? You got to be able to adapt. You got to create adaptation. You got to create the healing. You got to create the dynamic in which you want to live. Your creative juices go down because of the spiritual and the mental muscles are weak. So when your discernment is weak and your intuition is weak and your instinct is weak, then your adaptation gets weak, your imagination gets weak. And I just told you that from 0 to 10, that's how they program it, all of us, from 0 to 10, because that's when you're in that imaginative state. That's when you can put together reality and non-reality, right? That's how I played with G.I. Joes. Back in the day, I thought my G.I. Joe man was going to wake up in the middle of the night. I kept looking up under my bed every night to see that joke. I prayed every day to see if he would come alive, because I was stuck in that perception. And I was stuck in that imaginative phase like most of our children are. I need to get you back there. That's why the Bible says, come ye as little children, because it's that little children where we can renew you. We can renew your mind. It's in that little children phase that I can transform ye from the understanding of what mama nature came to give you, what God came to offer you is a lot different than what you got programmed for to challenge the world in. Your world is different from the earth. You've been programmed. So the owner's manual ain't nothing more than a deprogrammer, a dewormer. And so since you are the biggest computer on the planet, sometimes you need to get dewormed. You need to get all those parasites and worms and Trojans and everything else that they talk about in, I was in banking, so we had all these banking terms. They had Trojans and worms and all kind of stuff that'll come to your computer and try to get your information. So that's what you got to be able to do and understand here in your life, is that you're a big computer. Everything is vying to get inside of your computer so that it can take control over you, which is the mind. And if you get the mind, you got the body. So the snake came after the mind, thought came after the mind first, and then when it convinced the mind, the body followed. Adam didn't have a choice. Once the mind got set on biting that fruit, Adam didn't have no choice. The body gonna go where the mind go. So we're trying to get back control ultimately over the mind. So we're trying to deprogram and declutter the mind so that we can put in these positive reinforcements, but also so that we can alleviate the interference. Remember that we're all energy. Remember, we're all waves of energy. We're just trying to vibe with each other. We're just trying to have constructive interference. If I want to interfere with your life, I at least need to be congruent with what you believe in and what you stand for. So that's all we're really trying to do at a nutshell. All right, hey, that's too loud, man. When? It's too loud, man. So we're really trying to do all of this in a nutshell, right? So what we got to understand, if we're trying to attempt to have this cohesiveness, this community ain't nothing but communication in unity, right? So we're communicating in a oneness. That is about the nervous system, endocrine system, and also going to be about your immune system, right? Communicating in a oneness. You are 50,000 trillion cells that is communicating in a oneness. So all you see is you. But at the end of the day, if you break you down, you have so many different pieces to make you. And so that one individual is a part of a community of things. Again, all you really want is a sense of belonging. You'll keep on drinking if you ain't got nobody over there at your house. You'll keep on smoking if you ain't got nobody that can meet you at your intellectual capacity. You'll keep on drugging if you ain't got nobody that can understand your depression and anxiety. You'll keep on doing these things because you're trying to belong to a community, but you've been programmed to walk through this matrix individualized and personified and alone and isolated. And that ain't even the life of your cell, more or less the life of you. So you'll see that this wrong programming comes in and needs to be taken out in order for you to activate the way that you need to activate. And so the owner's manual serves as a guide for you to be able to put these things together. Know what foods you need, know what herbs you need, know what friends you need, know what spiritual tendencies you may be dealing with, know what physical tendencies you have a habit of dealing with, and then being able to now circumvent those things as you walk through this paradigm using your basic instinct, aka your intuition, a little bit more. Okay, if you guys are interested in the owner's manual, please DM me and we'll get you the information that you need. If you're interested in the owner's manual, please DM me and we'll get you the information that you need. All right, so now let me show y'all this receipt real quick. Keep tapping, you guys. I'll keep talking. Keep tapping. I will keep on running this old mouth. I'll keep on running this old mouth of mine, man, if y'all just keep on tapping. All right, YouTube. So what I'm trying to show them, because I don't know if it's going to let me show it. What I'm trying to show them is this perception, right? This perception. I want to stay on perception because this is where we got to deprogram you, is from how you perceive this world versus this earth, how you perceive reality versus the unseen, how you perceive this life. If I told you that this was heaven, how would that change your perception of yourself, what you've done, what you want to do in this life? Okay. If I told you that this was heaven, what would that do to change your perception of this particular thing? I'm talking about the things that you've done, the things that we've done, and all that. If I told you that this was heaven and there was no other place to be, that you were born into this paradigm, and what you had to do was realize it before you died. And if you could realize it before you die, maybe you would get everlasting life. And for those who can't realize it before they die, they keep being reincarnated to order to realize it. What if I told you that the job of Adam and Eve, the job of your left and your right brain, the job of your left and right hand, the job of your left and right foot is to simply keep the earth in its blissful heavenly state? What if I told you that that's the true That's the true penmanship. That's the true husbandry of a gardener. That's the true skill, and that's the true purpose of me and you being here, of me having this duality, is being able to work in the oneness with the earth to keep it a heavenly space instead of creating a hellish space. Huh? What if I told you that it was just meant for us to maintain the garden? And the garden was earth, and it was just for us to just maintain it, just be good steward of it, to keep it heaven. And if you kept maintaining it, if you kept the laws of nature, if you kept the law of return, if you kept the law of correspondence, if you kept the law of reciprocity, then you'll always stay in abundance here in heaven. All you got to do is learn the 12 universal laws, and you will be in abundance in nature as a citizen of humanity right here. I ain't even talking about that because God just told me to talk about this. My nature told me to talk about this. Mama said, I want you to hit them right here, because the bottom line is, I told you, it's about your relationship with God. And you keep claiming that you don't know him, that you do know him. That is a tall tale sign that you have a bad severed relationship with the Creator. If you say you don't know it, don't believe in God, you got a bad relationship. If you say you do know him, but you don't have no power, you got a bad relationship with God. And so we have to rekindle, we have to reinstitute what that relationship looks like. And I'm telling all 100 and so of you guys that are listening, that relationship is between earth and man and land. But you got to get back conscious. You got to get back to the present moment. If 95% of your life you're sitting here in a subconscious state, you are running on roboticism. You're running on routine. You're running on programming. And very seldom are you being able to peek out of this program. Very seldom are you being able to bust out of this veil, get off out of this matrix, bust out of this bubble of programming, so that when somebody like myself come, you so used to spending money, I need to have products. You so used to being in church, I need to have a building. You so used to somebody pacifying you, I don't need to cuss. You so used to this and that and the third, that I got to have this and have that. No, I'm being my natural damn self, trying to show you that it is in your natural self is the light that you're missing. You study trying to be, you've been programmed to be somebody else. If you're trying to be your mama, you've been programmed to be somebody else. If you're trying to mimic your daddy, you've been programmed to be somebody else. But you need to be deprogrammed from that and reprogrammed to be you. And you got to know your tendencies. You got to know thyself and fall in love with you the way that you were designed in this particular heavenly spot, understanding that you are a part of a community, a communication of a whole, and you're not just sitting here by yourself to go through shit alone. And that's why these things are hurting us. And that's why we can't get over our sicknesses, because we have all of these thoughts, all of these perceptions. You get diagnosed, the doctor tell you you're going to die. You say he a white coat. He know what he's saying. You perceive it as the truth. You die. You formulate it as the truth. You perceive the Bible as the truth, and you're looking at the end of days and the rumors of wars and this, that, and the third. As you continue to keep reading that book, you're putting that perception. You're being programmed to create the very end you're reading. It's people. Your mind is a terrible thing to waste. You got to be careful with it. It is your greatest asset. If I keep doing something, teaching you something, you'll make it happen. If I push it in your consciousness good enough, you'll make it happen. So you guys are literally making the Bible happen because of perception and of belief that it's gonna happen. You start doing the things to make it happen subconsciously. You're not thinking about it. 95% of the time, you're not thinking about what you're doing. You wake up every day, go to a job that you don't want to be at. You go down the same road, same thing. You got the same shortcut. If it's traffic, you got the same shortcut. You go to the same food spot. You got one close by. If you can't get there, then you'll get to the one close to the job. It's the same thing coming back. If you can't get to this gas station before you leave, you'll go over there to Quick Trip, get your bill, and then you still gonna ride down the highway with your bill, whether you know about drunk driving or not. It's just what you do. It's a routine. You got to get your cigarettes, you got to get your Black and Mild, you got to get your, it's just a routine. I got to cook spaghetti on Friday, we're going to order pizza on Saturday, we're going to eat McDonald's on Sunday. It's just a programming that you're in. And so it is this programming that we must be careful of, and is this programming that is also creating the environment inside of your body. And I'm going to show you what you got to get out of the way. Now, you see that perception here, right? You see that this is shifting perception. It's in the middle. It's talking about the five senses. That helps us with our perception. Remember, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, taste, all is going to help you with perception. You perceive something that tastes good, you're going to like it. If you perceive something that tastes bad, you know you're not going to eat it no more. If you perceive something that smells good, you're going to want more. If you perceive something that smells bad, you're going to repel it. So you got these things that's going to allow you to do one or two things. You're either going to gravitate toward it or you're going to repel against it. So you're either going to be magnetic towards something or you're going to be electric and you're going to go away from it. That's your senses. That's your particular way of being able to handle the environmental stimuli. What does that mean? This is your fight or flight. This is your fight or flight. So coming from your hypothalamus to your pituitary to your adrenals is called the HPA axis, right? So all of this, even though it's exoteric, is biological as well. Okay, so now you got all of this coming from here to the adrenals, trying to get you to be able to fight or flight, but it's all about how you perceive. Do you need to run or do you need to fight? And you'll see that once you get into this adrenal stage, then the blood is rushing to your what? Your hands and your feet. Fight or flight. But it's no longer in the core system. So you can't do digestion when you're overly stimulated in the sympathetic nervous system. That's what I'm trying to teach you. When you're overly stimulated in the sympathetic nervous system due to the stressors of environmental stimuli, got to think about school, got to think about something to eat, think about when to take a shower, think about when to make love, think about when to eat again, think about when to drink, think about when to do this, got to go visit that, got to go do that. So you're constantly being inundated with the stressors of life because it's how you perceive your life. And if you perceive that life is what it is today, then yes, you're going to be riddled with all kinds of things, and you may not have enough energy to rejuvenate because this cycle will de-energize you. And that's what destructive interference will do. It will de-energize you. But when you vibing, it's going to energize you. And we get into these things that can affect our perspective. Okay? All right, hold on real quick, you guys. Keep tapping, I'll keep talking. Hold on real quick, keep tapping, I'll keep talking. Let me show you what we get into. We get into these things that causes these interferences, right? And one of the biggest things is going to be trauma. Okay? Sometimes we can call it PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So you'll post-traumatic. So after the trauma, you're stressed. So during the trauma you were stressed, and then after the trauma you're stressed. This is causing a chronic stress, even though you're not still in that same environmental stimuli. That's because you're perceiving this thing in the way where you feel like it's always influencing you every day. So trauma becomes an interference. Okay. The next one is obviously we know toxins. We know that toxins can become an interference. We know endocrine disruptors. We know the bioplastics. We know the cosmetics and all that stuff that they do this, that, and the third. We know the stuff in the food, insecticide, herbicide, pesticides, all of that can cause interference. Okay? Interference, all right? And then the last one that you don't know about, that I'm trying to teach you about, is your thoughts, the triple T's. So trauma, toxins, and your thoughts can affect you at the biological level. Trauma, toxins, and your thoughts can affect you at the biological level. That means that these three things can make you sick, and these three things can make you well. So if you're looking at trauma, then if I eradicate the trauma, right? If I eradicate the trauma and I get into, instead of a hurt feeling, I get into a feeling of love, right? Oxytocin, serotonin, that is going to heal me, not trauma. Trauma is going to kill me. Love is going to heal me. Hurt is going to kill me, and it's going to send signals biologically to hurt my cells. But love will send the creative juices, the reproductive juices, the growth juices, the heavenly, the bliss, to let the cell know everything is all right. Keep being you, keep producing, keep fighting for me, keep living for me, keep me living out of love, not out of trauma. If you eradicate the toxins and put in nutrients, right? You eradicate the toxins and put in nutrients, then we know that that's going to cause what? Constructive interference. This is what your body needs, and this is what your body wants, not the toxins. Your body wants that love, not the trauma. Okay? And then thoughts. We already know. All we got to do is think positive, and those positive thoughts got to be thoughts about you understanding your divine presence and purpose and reasoning for being here. And a lot of you guys have been programmed to live somebody else's life and not your own. And once I declutter you, once I get you to understand that your job ain't worth killing you, so you might have to change it. Once I get you to understand that your spouse, that relationship, that bad relationship is not worth your life, you may have to leave it. Once I get you to understand the value in you again, once I heighten up the value in you, then we lower the chances of leaving him. And some of you guys are so attached to these things, motherhood and fatherhood and co-worker and manager and boss and entrepreneur, is that you will hold on to that world even if it means your life. We want you to change that today. We want you to change your thoughts. Look, medicine has came a long way, but we have now got to where we understand that you cannot fulfill a whole thing with isolated technology. And you can keep isolating it, we can keep being reductionist, and we can keep getting it down to the finite, but it doesn't tell the whole story unless we start dealing with people and their whole stories. The question is, what if this was heaven? How would that change your life? Deborah White said, you said that right. Thank you very much, Deborah. Any questions you guys can let me know? Okay. Any questions you guys can let me know? Okay. If you want to come up on the live, put me in the chat and we'll get you there. Let's get us up to 100,000 likes. You guys, please keep tapping. I'll keep talking. All right. So you see that this perception is a very big thing when it comes to the health of my cells. This perception, this thought life becomes a very big thing when it comes to the health of my cells and when it comes to the health of myself, right? And so now we put these together with all of the information that has been concluded, and now we understand that if I can start practicing on the muscles in my mind, my spirit, and I can start to see the value of this particular experience in a wholly, totally different way. All this water out here, you shouldn't have to need any water bottles or lack of water or pay a water bill, but you got to get out of that world. All of this food out here, you should not have to go grocery shopping or pay for any kind of food. All these animals, all these fruits, all these vegetables, but you got to get out of that world. All these trees out here, you can build your own homes. You don't have to pay for somebody to construct you a neighborhood. You learn the skill. You use the wood yourself and build you free communities from free abundance of wood and just continue. But you want to pay a mortgage instead of learn how to build your own home. And I'm saying is if you got back into your natural state, you'll see that the daily job you got to do is just to live in abundance. That's heaven. If the daily job you got to do is just to live in abundance. We got water all around here. We got fruits and vegetables all around here. We got so much you can't eat it all. We got animals all around here. We got air all around. We got much sunlight as you want. It's abundance. What are you lacking? Because you've been programmed to lack. You've been programmed that you need to do something better than what the Creator built. And that is a sign that your relationship with God ain't what you think it is. The moment that you start to feel like that you can do something better than this thing, it becomes interference in your programming. It becomes interference in your energy. We need that to heal you. You need that to heal yourself. And that kind of frequency, that kind of energy, that kind of life force is not in modern medication, is not in isolating and reductionism, is not in technology or the machine. You don't get to get that synergy. You don't get to get that ecology, that phytotherapy. You don't get to get that synergy with plants, and you don't get to get that when you're dealing with something outside of nature, things that are inorganic. That vaccine going in there, it's a program. It's technology. That vaccine has technology in it, and it's got a program. And it's going to go in there to do its program in your program ass. That pain pill, those medications, those antibiotics, they are technology. They are programs. And they got a program to go in there and reprogram you. And so instead of you doing that, don't you know that your body comes with all the chemicals that it needs? All the medication that you need is in your body. You don't need no chemical substances outside your body. Your body produces so many chemicals, and I'm trying to get y'all to use these. But what I'm saying is, you got to, this is going to be the hardest thing about this. And I'm going to say this, and I'm glad that this is live on YouTube, TikTok, and everything, because as soon as it's recorded, it's going to be able to be uploaded on YouTube. This is the biggest thing. The biggest thing is that you don't understand that you're here to create and reproduce. Okay? And you have to understand that you get to a point where you're not doing that anymore. Then we got to be looking at the environment. And the hardest thing is going to be for y'all to do is to get this program out of you, to deworm you. And I ain't talking about deworming on a parasitic level, on the biological level. I'm talking about deworming you in the brain. We got to get these programs, these Trojans, and we got to get this spam, and we got to get all of this hackers out of your particular paradigm in which you understood. If I told you that this was heaven, what would you do? You're living in abundance, but you think it's lack. So you have modern man having the ability to create and invent all of this stuff, and you still got poor people. It's because of the perception of life. I told you that what you did was came in, perceived this life, and you start putting classisms and separations, and therefore people can fall through the cracks of those things. But it's an abundance for everybody, baby. There's no lacking. The only reason you lack is because of your wants, needs, and desires. And it's because of those things you suffer, and it's because of those things we get sick. Anybody else? What's going on? What's going on, you guys? I mixed a owner's manual. Sorry, toss the text. Interested in the manual? Okay, Peter T, just email me and we'll get you the information. All right, just email me. We'll get you the information. Let me put my website here for you. If you guys are interested in the owner's manual, please DM me and we'll get you the information that you need. All right, there you go, my homie Peter T. Just email me, we'll get you what you need. The mind is the most powerful thing on the planet. Okay? The mind is the most powerful tool on the planet because it's about perception. Again, it's about your fight or flight. What you gonna do? What you gonna do in that situation? But just know that when you're stuck in these chronic stressful situations, that it ain't gonna be a whole lot you're gonna be able to do because chronic stress. Remember, I told y'all this before. I taught y'all this years ago. Stress hormones are what? Made out of cholesterol. Okay? Stress hormones are made out of cholesterol. That's the first thing you need to know. Stress hormones are made out of cholesterol. It is a lipid-based hormone, okay? And these lipid-based hormones, meaning that you can be in your feelings, and I can just have you feeling a certain way and kill you. You ain't even ate yet. You ain't even ate and drank nothing yet. I'm just stressing you the hell out and can cause a heart attack, can cause stroke, can cause these blockages, can cause these interferences. Because why? Stress hormones are made out of cholesterol. Okay? Now, the other big thing for this thing that you got to worry about is stress hormones also is immune suppressor. This is the biggest thing. So when you in your fight or flight, you ain't worried about being sick. So that means that when you're in your sympathetic nervous system, when you're under chronic stress, chronic pain, chronic inflammation, under chronic lifestyle situations going on, back-to-back dying, back-to-back job losses, just stuff going on in your life. When you're under chronic stress, you can get sick very easy. So when you get that diagnosis and when you get all this type of stuff, it's very hard to help you because this is part of the environment. Well, your environment is being suppressed because you are overly stressed. Why? Because you don't know nature's design for your life. And so you feel like you're in lack. You're all about your wants, needs, and desires. And when they're not met, you suffer. Not being able to see abundance, discernment, intuition is what we're after. Okay. Another thing about stress hormones is that not only is it cholesterol based, okay, and then also you have that it's immune suppressive. All right. You also got to be looking at the cortisol part of it, right? That these cortisols and adrenalines and all of what they do increase heart rate, increase the heartbeat, increase the breathing, decrease the this and that. And so, you got stuff that's increasing blood sugar, stuff that's increasing your blood pressure, all due to how you're responding. So these particular things, again, like I told you guys, these are stress hormones, but we're trying to, instead of using stress hormones, we want to use your love hormones. Instead of using stress hormones, we're trying to use your peace hormones. Instead of using a stress hormone, we're trying to use your bonding hormones. What are those things? Those are called the endorphins. But I got to make you feel blissed in life. I got to make you feel at peace. I got to make you feel at a oneness. I got to make you feel back connected. I got to make you feel back relevant. I got to make you feel the value. I got to make you feel the instant sensation that God and nature loves you and that you can love it back in that capacity. Remember, we are trying to move these hormones without another woman or man there. You got to be able to do it. You got to visualize nature. You got to visualize God. See, can you get that thing moving off that, right? And then you'll see how oxytocin, you'll see how melatonin, you'll see how serotonin, you'll see how some of these things can help you in your time of need, because they are going to be what? The messengers. All these endocrine systems and stress hormones are messengers. So a stress hormone is sending a message to do what? Fight or flight and constrict certain areas. While the love hormone is saying relax, chill out, peace, and open up the blood vessel and let the blood flow. So if you're looking to obstruct interference and remove interference, you got to be able to remove this stuff from the environment. Your environment has to send the signals of love, peace, serenity, bonding, closeness, belonging. You can produce these hormones. Very interesting, and it makes good sense. It's revealing the power of the mind. Yes, Albert Thomas, very much so. And that's what the owner's manual is designed to do. Using nature-based interventions, we believe that this is the best way forward. Again, there is not a panacea product, but we believe that there is a panacea program, and we believe that the owner's manual is that particular program. But it is going to involve you getting back to reality. Like I said, some of you guys got to face the reality that your job is killing you. You might have to do something. Okay. I know you love that truck driving money, but you got to do something else if it's going to kill you. I know you love your little courthouse job or your little warehouse job or your little McDonald's or whatever it is you're doing. But if it's creating an environment in your life that you can vibe with, then I'm gonna say go for it. If you're in a work environment that you can vibe in, that ain't creating an interference destructively to you, stay at that job. If you're in any kind of situation, relationship, whatever, that you can always catch a vibe and you're vibing more than you're not vibing, then that's a constructive relationship. Stay in that situation. But if you're involved in things where you're just not vibing, the wavelengths, the patterns of energies are just not been able to cohesively maneuver together, then these are the times where we might say, hey, look, we may need to take a different perspective as to what this can ultimately mean to life internally as well as externally as you move forward. You don't want to be up on a lifelong chronic. So look, instead of you leaving your husband, then let's teach him too. Let's teach both of y'all how to be able to do this so that you can both live cohesively with the same information. Right? So all you want to do is introduce the people that you love to this information. You ain't got to leave them. All you want to do is introduce your job, your coworkers. Tell them about the HerbMan show. You ain't got to leave them. Tell your boss about the HerbMan show. Tell your CEO. Tell your mama, your grandmama, them. Tell your brother, your sister, your friends. Tell everybody in your environment about the HerbMan show. Let's learn together how to create this unified community, this unified communication internally as well as externally. You ain't got to lead nobody. Let them learn with you. Let them learn with you. Can you teach my husband, please? Yes, Spicy. If he want to learn, I'm the best person for him to come to. But you ain't got to try to tell him nothing. Just give him my number. Just turn up. Sometimes y'all just got to turn on this video and just sit the phone down. Don't be trying to force it on nobody. Sometimes you just got to turn me on and turn me up and turn everything else down. And yeah, your children going to be back there quiet, but they listening. Yeah, your husband going to be over there with his lip all toed up. Who the hell this nigga think he is? But he listening. And sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to put me on the TV and just be like, turn everything else off and just listen. And you will see how the mind works is that you don't have to force nothing down. The mind is going to remember certain things they need to remember. Certain things are going to innately stick and absorb into that person. That was for that person. Everybody ain't at the same level, but everybody can get something out of what we're trying to do as a community of humanity. We're trying to get back to our original programming. And your original programming don't mean that you got to be broke. Your original programming don't mean that you got to be a slave. Your original programming don't mean that you're going back in time. The original programming just means that you need to go back and revitalize. You need to go back and revisit, and you need to go back and rekindle the relationship between you and nature, the thing that programmed you. Not man programming you, not your mama them programming you and your parents, but nature programmed you having a basic instinct. I just told you that if you never showed a baby boy how to be, if you never sent a baby boy to school and just put him around his father, he would still know how to be a man. So a baby boy don't need a book to learn how to be a man. It only needs his father. A baby girl don't need no book to learn how to be a woman. It only needs its mother. So then after that, that means that babies come with an innate ability to what? Learn. They don't need to be able to be force-fed. They can learn from the environmental stimuli. They can learn from the everyday understanding of the life of the species. And therefore, that's a more natural pattern of programming than it is that your ass need to get up and go to school and go to daycare, go to this, go to that. That's programming for the world. That's not programming for the earth. So you ain't fit for heaven until your mind can see heaven in this particular paradigm. And we can open up those pathways to allow you to see the blissfulness of the experience that you have today. We don't want you to keep wasting it on medications, keep wasting it on meditations, keep wasting it on fruitless things until you get your mind right. And some of you guys are waiting to get your mind right before you act right. And I'm here to tell you that there is no better time for the mind to get right than when the mind is wrong. Okay, so your time is now. Okay, you can't get your mind right because you don't know what it takes. But with your own owner's manual, with you being able to have the information at your fingertips, with you being able to have the keys of your health back into your hands, we're able to show you by the maneuvering of your perspective, right? We're able to show you by the maneuvering of your consciousness. We're able to show you by the maneuvering of the power of your mind, how the mind has influence over your immune system, nervous system, and endocrine system. And those are the systems that can heal you, which means that your mind can heal you. Anybody else? Anybody else? I say, thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you guys are interested in the owner's manual, please DM me and we'll get you the information that you need. So what we use with the owner's manual is a birthday. That's all we need for that, okay? Because with nature, that's your time tag. We're using the cosmos. All right. And remember that I told you here, as far as perception is concerned, you got two types of perception, right? You have the subconscious perception and you got your conscious perception. So you got your expanded perception, which is the pineal, and then you have your subconscious perception, which is your pituitary. So the perception that we're normally in is the pituitary. So the pituitary is over your what? Growth and development. How many of y'all done heard me plenty of times and told y'all that the endocrine system is the first place cancer gonna pull up, and pituitary gland dealing with growth and development is going to have a lot to do with what grows and develops in your body. So you'll see that your perception is creating the cancers. They're creating the diseases. You were built to be resilient. If there is no resilience, then you have to look at the environment and why resilience haven't happened. It's because the environment is not creating resilience. Okay? You have signals that are coming in through your receptors. You have these signals that are coming in through your life. The smells, the taste, the feels. These signals of environmental stimuli that comes in. They got to be able to be the right things in order for your cells to do the right thing. And so we can move energy to your feet. We can move energy to your lungs. We can move energy to your kidneys, to your liver. We can move this energy to your heart. And if you can feel this energy move, because that's feelings, endorphins, right? The feelings, the emotional side. I don't just want you to think this thing. This is way more than thought. It's also when I'm telling you that you have to be in this love and this bliss and this peace, it's way more than thought. Remember, I told you about the butt nakedness, right? That's way more than thought. Something happened, your nature rise. We need for your thought process to be a feeling that engages an action in your cells and in you. We need for your thoughts to create the feeling that's going to create the action in your cells and for you. So I don't want y'all to just think that he just talking about he wants you to think positive. Hell no, this is going to require your feelings as well. Matter of fact, it's more about the feelings than you think it is. So I need for you to think on something long enough to create a feeling long enough to create an action. So that means that, again, if you keep watching that video, you gonna rise your nature. And if you keep talking to that man, your little stuff gonna get wet down there. He ain't never touched you. He was never around you. Why? Because you allowed your thoughts to create the feeling that created an action. And that very same thing in your deathbed, you got to be able to do without another person. And the only way I know how to do it to you is to change your perception of what life is at the very moment that you think you're about to die. And if we can change your perspective about life at the very moment you're faced with death, you will conquer death. It's happened so many times. And that means that you can do this all the way up until your last second if you got it in you. You can change your situation all the way up until your last minute if you got it in you. At your very second that you thinking about death, if you reverse it and start calling on life and mean it, you'll make changes happening within your system. Okay? So that's all we're trying to get you to understand. This stuff molecularly is happening to you day in and day out. We're just trying to get you to direct it, okay? Anybody else? Anything else? Keep tapping out. Keep talking, you guys. Keep tapping out. Keep talking. Words, that's power. Thank you, Joyce Maddox. That's all we're trying to do here, you guys, is put this stuff back into your hands, right? You don't really need anybody working on you, tampering with you. You don't need anybody to service you. You should be able to service your own life. And the biggest thing that we got to do is we got to let you know that you've been programmed to look at this particular life in a particular way that's causing a lot of our issues. And if we can get away from the programming, I believe we can step into everlasting life. Remember that love took time off the throne. So in this particular paradigm, we shouldn't be living under time constraints. We should be living under love constraints. Okay? And that was an old ancient story from celestial years ago. right? So we're not even talking about the Bible, but it also will include why Jesus would be a symbol of love, because love has conquered time. That's why you should have everlasting life. But again, if you are coming in programmed that you got to have an end to everything, if you're coming in programmed that you got to do everything at a certain stages and ages because you got an end, then that is a unfulfilled, rushed in and rushed out life. But if I can get you to perceive heaven and forget you to perceive that things have already been done before you got here. So if the story had already been done, then it's already been done. What you waiting on? So therefore, you got to be able to create heaven. How do you create heaven? The earth is already abundant. Now you create the abundance in your mind. The earth already created its abundance, but you got to see it as abundance. You got to see Earth's cooking its food as not raw, but it's done, and that's good for you. You got to see how Earth made you as good, and not that you need makeup and extensions and all of this stuff. Love is the frequency we need to stay on. Yes, love is the frequency we need to stay on. You are perfectly correct. Love is this thing that is going to break. It is a wave. It is an energy. It is a wavelength. It is a cohesive type of thing, but it also produces certain things within you called endorphins that we need. And I'm saying to you, I can't make nobody. I can't make you have sex when you see. So we got to be able to do this without somebody else. You know what I'm saying? We can't have y'all in here trying to have sex just to stay alive. So therefore, we got to get it to where you could produce this life force within you without nobody else. It's the hardest part about this, but we can do it. We are the cocoon, our light bodies. We are tuning from the inside out. Go inside. Yes, yes, yes. Stay tuned in. Yes, yes, yes. We got to be able to do it. We got to be able to do it. Let me see if I got something else for you guys here, man. Because I'm about all out. I put everything into that one really quick. I didn't know I was going to be that fast with it. But if you guys are interested in your owner's manual, please DM us and we'll get you the information that you need. Any questions, you let us know. But I'm just trying to break this thing down to you why it is very, very critical that we cannot stay in these overstressed situations. We can't keep stressing out about all these things. I'm telling you guys. And the less stress you get is by understanding how you need to build up your basic instinct. Look, in the dating phase, you need to be looking at energy, not at the person. Okay? You need to be looking at energy, not at the person. Anybody can lie to you with their mouth. But if you're watching their energy, if you're intuitive about energy, if you're intuitive about vibing, if you're intuitive about that, then look, don't let the dates be a talking session. Let it be an energy session. And then therefore you'll know. I'll know way more about you if we don't talk than if we do talk, because then I get to see your energy. It's far too many people that are starting to manipulate people by their energies. They energy vampires. They like to take people energy. They like to change people energy, all because they ain't got shit going on with their life. You got to stay off around these people. These people are energy projectors. They are energy vampires. They are energy manipulators, and they can be the closest people to you, and they can be the people furthest from you. But you still must be instinctively, which means you must be intuitive enough to know how to circumvent these energy vampires, so you don't create the interference in your life. You need to be able to circumvent these jobs. You can't just work at anywhere. You got to know your tendencies. If I got the tendency to be mad, I got the tendency to have anger problems, I don't really need to work for nobody, because if I got the tendency to have what they call that, a problem with authority, then I don't need to work for nobody. I had to learn it about myself. I need my own job because I can't listen to nobody. So I'm gonna need my own job. But in getting me my own job, I ain't stressed at nobody's job. I ain't fussing and cussing at nobody's job. I ain't mad every day I come home because of work. I ain't none of this, because I understood my tendency. And because of that tendency, I do better with my own thing. You see? And you're just learning yourself as you go. And the owner's manual is very important to help you learn those things. I just got fired from my job because it did not serve me, and now I'm doing everything new. There you go. Be a creator. Okay, instead of just being creation and getting hit with all this environmental stimuli, you need to be a creator and create your dynamic, create your own reality. Bust out of the program, bust out of the program, bust out of the program, you guys. You have been programmed intentionally to live in a world meant for you, but not the world that was made for you from God. Those are two different things. Being programmed for a world meant for you is crazy, is not the same as God making a world for you. Okay? So we need to make sure we understand that. Just DM me if you need anything, you guys can DM me. If you need anything, you guys can DM me, okay? Yeah, I mean, people are gonna get it. People will get it, man, because it is a overwhelming consciousness that's moving across the realm. I'm not the only one teaching you guys about your mind, but I am probably one of the herbalists that are doing it, because herbalists don't get into holistic practitioning. And then a lot of times when you get holistic practitioners, it's too costumey, it's too masky, it's too religious, and we don't want to start making consciousness as a church. Consciousness is not a religion, okay? And we need to get out of the religiosity and the ritualism of things. That's why I come looking like this, looking just like yourself, and you can still be proficient. You can still be just as in depth and be you and be yourself. I'm the first HerbMan. I don't look like nobody else. I don't talk like nobody else. So I'm going to go down for creating my own particular image in the image that God made me in as I leave here. So I don't necessarily have to come back, but I don't need to come back because I'm going to leave here forever, baby. Why? Because I have recorded myself in this particular paradigm. People will remember me even if it ain't my family, even if it ain't my children. I have impacted so many other people's lives that I will be remembered. And that's the longevity. That's the everlasting. That's the impactful. That's the part that we're trying to get you to understand, that when you get your value as far as what you mean to the community, to the wholeness, your one cell in your body, I tell you, it's cell plasticity. So that one cell can do anything and go anywhere in your body if needed. Right? So that what my point to you is that that one cell is very important to the whole. You are very important to the whole, but you can't come in here and try to bring me what LeBron did. It's already here. You can't come in here and try to bring me what Michael Jordan did. It's already here. Bring me what you come into the earth to bring. But you're so programmed that you can't find yourself. It's embedded deep in the motherboard. And we have to clear and cleanse this hacking up out of your system and put you back on nature-based interventions that'll get you back to your natural tendencies, your natural walk, your natural understanding of the life. If you took all of these rules and regulations away, God will still have rules for you. And again, I told you that this is the land of abundance. I gave you the universal laws. If you practice the universal laws, you would be in abundance for the rest of your life. And I'm talking about abundance in everything. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. You guys keep tapping. You guys, I'll keep talking. I got about 30 more minutes with you guys. I'm going to let you go. I might not even stay that long, okay? You guys keep tapping. I'll keep talking. I'm giving you the best of this information I can possibly give you. Please go tell somebody to go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. All right, let's see what we got right here. Let's see what we got right here. Really quick, I'm going to show y'all this real quick. So look at this, right? You're regenerating all the time, you guys. There's no such thing as you not regenerating. If you're not regenerating, is it because you lost the regenerative environment? But you're regenerating every day. Red blood cells, sickle cell people, 120 days. Y'all got to look at it. But this means that, but what this means is that you have to be in some kind of consciousness and some kind of lifestyle to be able to go this long for these things to happen. But regardless, they're happening, regardless if you know about it or not. This is happening. So you're constantly in regenerative mode, constantly in creator mode. So it is only when regeneration stops that now you're in a degenerative mode. So we got to be able to understand how we're able to utilize this information. You can heal yourself because it's been doing it. It's been doing it. You've been got a toxin in you. You've been got a trauma. You've been got a thought, but you're still living because your body has been doing this stuff. All we got to do is recreate the environment, and it can still continue to do it. Okay. I forgot what I was trying to pull up right then, y'all. I got so much stuff on my brain. You are a great teacher. The first time I ever heard you. Well, thank you very much, Joyce Maddox. Please come back. We're on every day between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, I'm deprogrammed, and I'm telling you we are not human. Stop claiming it, primordial divine soul. Janet from another planet. Now, see, we don't have to do all of that, though. You understand what I'm saying? Like, again, this ain't no church. You can't tell me how the hell to do it, and it's supposed to be what everybody's supposed to say. I used to hate that shit when you talking about veganism and all that. I ain't under nobody's control. This is where you take back control to get out of control. So we got to stop trying to control the uncontrollable things. Leave the uncontrollable things, because I want to be in this world. I like the changing. See, y'all the one that don't like change. I like the change. You just want to know the truth so something can stay the same. I like the change. I want the truth to change, and I want the lies to change. The bottom line is I like the up and down. I'm okay with the changing pattern, because that creates the life. It creates the up and down. It creates the good and bad. It creates the experiences of life. I ain't looking for it to be linear. I don't need for me to have a linear, straightforward, straight line life. That's too boring for me. I'm a Gemini. I leave here in a minute. I jump ship on that kind of life. If I ain't got no good and no bad and no happy, no sad, that's experiences. Everybody trying to be happy all their life. Man, what the fuck? They're sad all your life. Come on. It is an up and down changing pattern, and it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be something all day, every day, all the time. Things change. That's life. Embrace it, and then you can be able to float in the boat a little better. But when you start trying to come out and say, okay, we got to I'm deprogrammed. I'm telling you, we're not human. Stop claiming it, primordial divine soul. Why everybody got to say primordial divine soul for? Now you're making it church. I just want to be free. That means I want to be free from even your motherfucking opinion of what it is. All I'm walking you into is a relationship that can free you. What you call it and what you make of it after that is totally up to y'all. But I ain't associated and affiliated with shit but nature. I'm tired of association and affiliation. Don't come over here in heaven and trying to make no goddamn assembly, because over here we already together in a oneness, and we need not to be able to conjugate up for what? We're symbiotic either way it goes. Even if I'm all the way across the land, whatever I do is still going to be significant to your existence, because a cell in your foot is still significant to your whole body. A cell in your hair is still significant to your whole body. So even though you are all the way in Antarctica, whatever you don't do or do in this time and space still will affect me in some way. Because we are humanity, community. Your cell life is your self life. But what we got to do is we got to stop thinking we know what it is. Let's be free of not knowing. Ride the waves. You ain't got to know. You ain't got to know. See, it's about this faith. It's about this assurance that I don't have to know no more. I don't got to know what's going to happen tomorrow no more. Thank you. I ain't got to know where the bill money going to come. I ain't got to know where the healing go. I ain't got to know where the food going to come from, where the clothes going to come from. I ain't got to know where the school times is. And I ain't got to get up and go to school. I ain't got to, because now you're living and you're seeing that what you're compartmentalized, you don't need to do it no more. It's all a part of the life source, all a part of the life force. If you kept your children around you every day, they would be in school. Bottom line, if you kept your children around you every day, they would be in school. And the only way you're going to keep your children around you every day is you got to get back into nature, but you got to be skillful enough to live in the natural elements, because nature don't play no games with you. Your world is a little safer, but it's shorter. Your world is a little safer, but it's still short. The earth ain't gonna play with you. It has a patterns, and it's gonna run its patterns whether you like it or not. It's the same thing with your job. Your job is a little safer and you can retire a little early. But my job is an entrepreneur. Hey, it ain't safer, but I can make $1 million today and I can make zero tomorrow. But I got that ability, that expansion where you don't. So you'll see that once we get into this freeness, once we get into this earth's plan, you have an ability to reach your highest thing. But then if you don't understand it, yes, it can swallow you up because it's life. But at the end of the day, it is the blissfulness of being in that. So you don't never know. All these stuff is about chances and choices. So you might think that you finna fall out the sky, but then earth can have a mattress there waiting on you to where you'll fall ain't as hard as you think you will. And that same very thing that you can do in your world, and then nobody will give a fuck about you. Nobody cares about you. So you got to look at it. It's a twofold thing. You think that your world you created for you is the actual world that God created for you, and that's not true. You created your own design because you have the mind of God. But sometimes, or what's happening is when you're playing God in your world, you are usurping energy, and it comes a point in time where you have no more energy, and that's when death comes into your cells and death comes into your life. But if you live in abundance, peace, and this euphoria, for some reason, you always got this energy. And as long as you got that energy, you got that life. And that's what we're trying to teach you at the Honest Man. Okay? Long as you got that energy, you got that life. Don't let medications, don't let these things rob you of your energy. Okay? I love you guys, man. Look, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. If y'all ain't got nothing else to say for me, I appreciate all of you guys. If you are needing someone to help you with your health journey, we would be obliged to serve you along your health journey. We do consultations. They are $50. If you're willing to take an intuitive route, if you're willing to take a nature-based intervention route to your health, to your mental health, to your cognitive health, to your physical health, then we would be obliged to help you guys walk you through this particular thing that we do here. I love you guys, man. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. We will be back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Please go tell somebody about your homie HerbMan. Y'all have been slacking on my likes. I should get 100,000 likes during my live. Don't think I ain't watching y'all ass. I am watching you. And I can just go ahead and live off this information and I ain't never got to deal with y'all no more, okay? But we're trying to share. And so what we're doing is saying that when I share, you share. Because we're vibing. That vibing energy is when I'm sharing with you, you share with me. And let's vibe out together. Until next time. Peace. Yes, sir. Woo-say. There you